All right, guys, welcome to the Chunky Knit Craze question and answer session. So if you've seen my video, I told you guys that I was going to try to spend Sunday catching up on video content, but also I wanted an opportunity to just answer some of the questions that have been coming to me either from folks at work or family, friends, or questions I've gotten inside the DM about the Chunky Knit Craze. So this will probably be like a part one, part two, because it's a lot of questions that I'm behind on. So today I've been really focusing on video content, getting things organized, and then the last part is just making sure I answer those questions that you guys have been sending my way. And I'm probably going to ask questions that you guys should ask, so make sure you have an update. So let me pull up those questions. I kind of took all of them and just put it in a Word document in my Google Drive so that I would have it for you. All right. So someone asked if knitting has changed my life. If we're talking financially, no, knitting has not changed my life financially. I'm not rich or anything else like that because of chunky hand knitting. But do I have more joy, laughter, and peace? Absolutely. It has changed my life. I've gone from just wanting to wallow in bed at night and weekends, from grief to just getting up and moving and wanting to be a part of something bigger than my grief. So yeah, it has. Let's see. What was happening in your life when you made your first blanket? I encourage you guys to go back to the beginning videos. And this is a question that actually came from one of the group pages that I belong to. They wanted to know what was going on in my life that made me go to knitting. So I encourage all of the viewers to go to my earlier videos where I talked about the tragedy and loss that I went through and how grief just had a grip over my life. Has yarn ever become a part of your outfit by accident? Daily. I have yarn in my hair. I have yarn all over my sweater. My supervisor has picked yarn off of me when we go into meetings. I've had colleagues to pull yarn out of my hair. And listen, the chunky chick really doesn't care. So I am excited anytime I find yarn following me everywhere because it does. So yes. Do I have a yarn addiction? Go watch that video where I talked about addiction, overconsumption, or just a really good sale. I don't think it's an addiction, but in full transparency, I never thought I would be a why person. I am that person who just can't stand why people. Well, I'm a why person. I yarn in the morning, I yarn at night, I yarn every day that I can. And not that type of why you're talking about, but YARN. So I don't think it's an addiction though. What's the most yarn you've brought in one trip? I guess this past weekend when Hobby Lobby discontinued 2 colors. Yep, I wiped out the store on Rivers Avenue, and I had a colleague friend wipe out the store in Mount Pleasant, and I have no shame to my game. My next probably biggest purchase would have been when my department team gifted me a $200 gift card, and the yarn was on sale at Hobby Lobby. I mean, what do you do? Favor ain't fair, and it comes to me, so I'm okay with it. Have you ever hidden a yarn purchase? All right, all jokes aside, I've never had to hide a yarn purchase. Noise in the background going like this, but that's not true. I have never, ever had to hide a yarn purchase. Now, do I purchase yarn and accidentally leave it in the car? Maybe somebody finds it because I haven't told them. Yes, but did I outright try to hide yarn? No. Let's see. What does real life with the Chunky Chick mean now? It means the very same thing it meant when we got started. I know when people get started, they might develop a brand for one reason, then it really changes. But for me, this is truly about healing, joy, and restoration. Everything else is second. I never, ever thought that the Chunky Knit Craze would have turned into a business, but here I am doing the doggone thing, and I'm so thankful for it. So it still means the same, healing, restoration, and joy, and I try to find those moments to give it to others, but definitely making sure that it starts with me. Starts with me. So, oh, this is a good one. When you first started, we saw the children a lot. Where did they go? They went to work. That's what. That's where they went. So when we first started with the Chunky Knit Craze, only the oldest was working and the youngest two were in college full time. They're all still in college full time, but my youngest two decided that they wanted to step out on faith and try to get a job and go to school at the same time. So we're never ever hardly in the house at the same time, but tonight we are, because the youngest just got off from work a little after 6 and he's home with us, so it makes a complete house, and Coakley Bear's in the garage. So I guess I should say this is real life with the chunky chick who loves the chunky knit. You might hear a lot of sounds going on because Noah is in the kitchen making himself a smoothie. And guess what? That's okay, because it's real life with the chunky chick. Is that what you've been missing hearing? Well, there you go. How do your family members feel about your business? Oh my goodness, they're my biggest cheerleaders. They root me on. They deal with my silly shenanigans. When I ask them what do they think about a certain color combination, they tell me the truth. But then I got some sons who try to motivate me to say yes, no, and it's not even cute. So they definitely love it. They help me. Does your husband get tired of seeing yarn everywhere? Yes. On yesterday, he came in and he had this little smart comment because I created another shelf of the extra yarn. Go in and look at that video. And he goes, well, you're busting out the door, right? Well, he gave me my own office upstairs. The bonus room is now my office space. So if I take all 4 corners of the wall, what does it matter, right? But no, all jokes aside, he loves it. He supports it. And he's been holding me accountable for making sure that I'm making the blankets, the plushies, the handbags, and he's trying to get clients for me. So I'm excited about that. Let's do a few more. Is this really a business or is it still a hobby? It is not a hobby. It is absolutely a business. I see myself growing. I have 4 more years before I can retire. And I can tell you this, if God makes it possible, this is what I want to be doing in 4 years. Full time, just enjoying life, no guarantees, no requirements. I can do whatever. I even found myself on the weekends where I treat it as a job, like it's an actual business. I get to eat lunch. I even get to take a nap. I can't do that on my job. There's no time for any of that. So I've got 4 more years, and hopefully it does become a big business. Now, if big God sees it, where I should make it a business, big business before then, so be it. But I'm never ever going to lose my leave my current job for this, because that job is a calling, and it's necessary for folks like me to be in the system. So it's a business, not a hobby, but it does bring me joy. And every business should bring joy. What's the hardest part about running a handmade business? I think the hardest part is convincing others that you really do create the stuff by hand. Sometimes it looks too good to be true. I found myself having to put on my posts on certain group pages, this is not AI, because folks think it is. I'm really hand knitting with my hand. And I've also now started using the loom. So, I mean, it is what it is. Anybody can take that opportunity to learn and grow, and I've done that. So that's the hardest part, convincing others that they really can do it, or you're really doing it. Have you ever completely hated a blanket while making it? Absolutely. And so has my mom, and so has my husband, and so has so many other people who have seen certain blankets. Some you've seen, some you haven't. I kind of goofed up on the color combination, but it's still going to be a blanket because it does its job. All right. And speaking about blankets, can blankets only be useful in the winter time? No. A blanket is a blanket. Here is my first blanket right here. And this blanket is everything to me. When I'm home, I'm in this blanket. When I'm away, when I'm going to work, I have 2 blanket choices that I take with me. A blanket is always needed, especially if you're like me, you have low iron and you're always cold, you need a blanket. If you just want something that's comforting, a blanket. They're not to the point where you can't have it in an office, please, or if you're traveling, you want a blanket. So purchase those blankets year round. It doesn't matter. All right. Do I regret getting started? No, I don't. I don't. How long did it take you to make your first blanket? Forever. Forever. So here's my first blanket. Here's my first blanket. You have to catch that video where I go doo 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 doo. This is my first blanket. And I love this blanket. And guys, I think it took me a day and a half to make this this blanket. It doesn't look like it, but it did. It did. It did. Last question. Last question. What made you decide to start selling your creation instead of just giving them away? Because yarn is expensive. So if I can make it and give away, I would, but I can't. Someone else is asking, if they purchase the yarn, will I give them a discount on making it? If you purchase the yarn, I'll only charge you for making the blanket. And what you're going to find is it comes out about the same. So you can go purchase the yarn, whether you purchase it on sale or not, plus the cost of my labor, it's going to pan out to be the same. But if it makes you feel better by purchasing the yarn and then giving it to me and I just charge you for making it, I will absolutely do that. I'll do whatever it takes to make sure you can get a Chunky Knit Craze collection, creation inside your collection. So you just let me know. What's the most frustrating part of hand knitting? Not being able to do it, if you want me to be honest with you. When my work days are so long and I get home and I'm just too exhausted and I can't do it, I get frustrated. But I have found other ways around it because honestly, the hand knit is what calms me down after a work day. I've found that to be my soft place of peace. So what I do is I go on my YouTube page and I look at my videos, or I go to my TikTok page and I look at what needs to be updated, reposted, what should I freshen up on, and that gives me like a little bit of, I'm close to it. Watching the videos of me hand knitting or somebody else hand knitting, because I love to watch tutorials of others, honestly, just seeing that yarn go through the fingers, it's just soothing. It is absolutely soothing. All right. So those are all the questions I'm going to answer for part 1. I'll come back on and do a part 2 and answer more questions for you if you would like. If there are questions that I didn't answer tonight, you're not certain if I have them in this list of questions I've been collecting, send it my way. I'll add it. So how can you follow me? You can follow me on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube. Please take time to follow me, share, subscribe, whatever it's called on each one of the platforms, and tell a friend and tell another friend that there's a Chunky Knit Craze with a chunky chick who's chunky knitting and just doing a whole lot of cute, wild, fun videos and creations that they should go see. You should also go to my website, www.thechunkyknitcraze.com, and check out everything that I have. I haven't posted in a minute about plushies because we've been focused on blankets, especially the D9. But don't forget about the plushies. Ladies, don't forget about those handbags, those purses that we have on there. All created by hand for you. All right, y'all. This has been a Chunky Knit Craze question and answer session. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Thank you so much for all of your questions. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for supporting my small business. Until next time, you have just witnessed another Chunky Knit Craze release.